Welcome to JHart Modelworks. The 240ZG buddy build is done, so it's time to start taking a look at what's next on the bench. Welcome to my workbench. Let's get started. Hey guys, Justin here with JHart Modelworks, and like I said in the intro, it is time to take a look at what's coming up next on the bench, and what we have is going to be Revell 69 Chevy Nova Yenko, to which we're also going to be adding the C1 models Nova Restomod kit for the 69. I have been putting this one off a little bit, I have to admit. I'm kind of nervous about it. I've never done a resin body kit before, so this is going to be a fun build. We have our body and our chassis. Three or four sprues of white parts here. We've got some tires. We got some more parts. We have chrome sprue. Another chrome sprue. We have a clear sprue. Some resin 3D printed wheels that I was considering using, but I'm probably not going to be using these. At least not on this build. And we got some decals, one of which has a chunk missing. I used it for a test, but that's okay because I'm not going to be using the stripes. Honestly, not too certain how much of these we're going to be using at all. And we have the instructions, which we'll take a look at here in a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and get all this unwrapped, and we're going to come back in just a second to take a closer look. Alright guys, welcome back. We're going to go ahead and start with the instructions and get those out of the way. These are Revell's book style instructions. Front page gives us all of our color callouts, kind of a guide as to instructions, what the little symbols mean. We then have 2 pages of parts. All the parts are listed and it tells you what the name is for each part number. That's kind of cool. All the instructions are nice and clear, easy to read, easy to follow. Pretty typical Revell instructions. Personally, I really prefer the book style instructions over the foldouts. The foldouts just kind of get annoying. We're going to move on to the body and chassis and tub. Body is pretty clean. It's a little shallow when it comes to the panel lines, so the panel lines can probably use a little love. We've got some raised lettering there for some scripts, some rear reflectors. Detail wise, it's pretty clean. The mold seams run right up along this edge, so it'll be pretty easy to clean up without too much trouble. Up the edge, right along here, and down along this front fender. So all in all, the body looks pretty good. We're going to move on to our chassis. Got some nice detail to it. Looks like we may have some brake lines already run detail wise. One thing about this kit is the rear suspension is leaf spring. It's kind of sad. This 69 Nova's got a leaf spring suspension, but the 68 Chevelle kit has a 4-link. Now, if y'all remember, I have a 68 Chevelle kit. I have a spare kit from when I was fighting with the body on the chrome blue Chevelle. So I may try to see what the 4-link out of that may work or may not work. Just see how that sits. I don't know. We may end up having to go with the standard leaf spring suspension. Just not a fan. And then we've got pretty much our interior. So these are going to be the engine bay wheel wells, our floor, where our seats will go, parcel shelf back here. We'll probably end up flocking this. That usually ends up being a really nice detail. One thing I'm not a fan of is that there's not really locating points for the interior. There's no actual pin down points to ensure that you get this in here straight. It just kind of drops in and floats and does whatever it wants to do. Maybe that'll make mounting the body easier. Maybe it will make mounting the body harder. I honestly don't know. I would rather there have been some positive locating pins though. We're going to move on to our engine sprue. Everything looks to be nice and clean, well molded. The alternator actually has a bracket on it, which is a nice touch. Thank you, Revell. I probably am not going to use it. I'm looking at probably using, I have a turned aluminum pulley set from Mr. Model. Has a whole set of nice pulleys. I may use that and use the kit's alternator. Another option I have though is that I have a turned alternator, a turned aluminum alternator that's got a nice little bracket and whatnot. But honestly, the fact that this kit actually has a bracket for the alternator, I very well may break down and actually use this one instead. Looks like there may be some casting flaws right here. We're gonna have to fill that with some putty, but details are pretty good. Moving on to our next white sprue. It looks like the radiator surround, the radiator, firewall. Again, everything is really nicely molded. It's very clean. The details are nice and crisp. We have the other half of the exhaust. So basically the mufflers glued together, and then this runs up towards the engine bay. There's some interior parts here. Door cards are nice and clean. Very cleanly molded. Nicely detailed window cranks. Door latch on the front of these doors. Not sure what color I'm doing the interior. It should be black. And y'all know I hate black for interiors, especially on model kits, because you just can't see into the detail once you get the body on. And you pretty much can't, no matter what color, just about. But if you do black, it's guaranteed you're going to lose all your detail, because there's no way that light can bounce around inside there. So I don't know. We may do black and tan. We may do white, like a cream, like maybe a racing white or something. I don't know. Tell me your thoughts on the interior color. Let me know. We have our suspension components. Part of our rear diff. Front suspension. Master cylinder and the brake booster. That leaf spring suspension. Some sway bars. We have another sprue for just the seats. Some nice detail to them. You can really get a wash in there, bring those crevices out. Okay, and the last of the white sprues here, we have our center console. That's where the shifter goes in. And then we have our hood. Our hood's going to have some little chrome trim pieces that go in there. I like this hood. The detail on the underside is really nice. We have 2 chrome sprues. Speaking of those little chrome inserts for the hood, these are them. There's our shifter. The chrome is nice, but it's just a bit bright for me. I'm looking at doing, I believe I'm looking at maybe doing some Alcab black chrome. So I may strip all this and go with that. We shall see. Got some really nice wheels here, but I'm probably not going with the kit wheels. And by probably not going with the kit wheels, I mean I'm not going with the kit wheels. And we have our second chrome sprue. We've got our air cleaner, our valve covers, some nice detail in here, but we're going to sand it off. I'm going to replace that with a PE oil fill cap. Probably drill these out and put in some ProTech oil breathers. A lot of really nice parts though, nice and clean. For the most part, it looks like the sprue points are mostly in places that are not going to be terribly noticeable or would be easy to touch up with like a Molotov pen. That's going to bring us to the glass. I like to keep the glass in the plastic. And honestly, this is some of the best Revell glass I have ever seen. It's not really wavy. There's very little to no distortion. Look at our Burbank's House of Hobbies card. Great company, great stuff. Order online. I get it usually the same week. Awesome guys. But you can clearly see there's like no distortion at all. Now what it's like after my grubs try to glue it in might be a whole different story. So we have the rear quarter glass and the front wing windows, which is kind of nice. It means the side windows are going to be down, so you will be able to look through and see into the interior. That's going to help a little, because when you've got, kit glass, makes it even harder to see in. Would have been nice if, I don't know how I would do it, but would be nice if I could figure out how to actually cut all this trim off and maybe do one of those wing windows kind of opened a little bit. The headlights have really nice detail to them. So your turn signals, again, nice and clean, no flash. The front windshield actually has sun visors molded in. That's a nice touch. I won't have to be 3D printing any. That little piece right there is a dome light. Has a nice rolled roof interior, and right in the center is a spot for a dome light. It's a really nice bit of detail. Unfortunately, there's also some ejector pins in there. Those are going to be really hard to sand out and clean up. Alright, we got some decals here, which we are going to use very few of. And there's going to be some that we're going to use for some body markings and things like that. We're not using the stripes, so I kind of cut these off and use them for a test. But I'm not a fan of the Yanko stripes. Now, there are some pretty clean decals. It's a little blurry on the small stuff. All in all, pretty nice. And finally, we have our tires. They are not branded. Fairly generic tire tread pattern. Nothing really to write home about. But again, we're not going to be using these for the build. We are going to be doing the C1 Models Restomod kit. This is a really nice looking kit. I've never done a resin body kit before, so this is going to be an experiment. I'm going to take you guys along for the ride. So in this kit, we get a cowl induction hood. I'm not a super huge fan of the cowl induction hood. I like the original kit hood better. I'm probably going to go ahead and stick with that. Seeing as the underside is molded exactly the same as the kit, the cowl induction hood's not going to give me any kind of additional clearance or any benefits. So I'm going to stick with the original kit hood because I like the design better. We have a replacement for the rear bumpers. We actually have replacements for the rear and the front bumpers. And they look identical, but they're actually not, because these are going to pull the bumpers in to be more in line with the body. So they're going to come up and be more flush instead of sticking way out like the original kit bumpers will. These will tuck in just a little bit better. So this whole body kit is going to require me to do some cutting, which is something that terrifies me, to be honest. Again, you see we're going to have to actually cut these front bits off in order to get that to actually go into place. But it is going to pull the bumpers in for a much cleaner look. We have this nice little rear spoiler here. I am a fan. Got a kind of cool aftermarket vibe. Some bolts on there. There's this really nice rear lip. Gives that front end a more aggressive look. I would normally call it a rear splitter. It would be a rear splitter on a modern car, but this is all downforce. But I don't know, it just seems a little different. Then we get to these fender flares, which I figured out which ones were which. The fronts get this very sharp, straight drop to them, and the rears have a nice round. But as you see, that leaves quite a bit that's going to have to be cut off. So again, more cutting to the body. I am a bit nervous about this kit. I keep saying I was going to build this kit, and I kept putting it off. And part of why I keep putting this kit off is I am a little nervous about cutting on the body. I'm a little nervous about this resin body kit, because I've just never done one before. But it looks pretty freaking cool if you ask me. Alright guys, so that's going to wrap it up for the unboxing. This is going to be a full build video series. As I've said many times now, I have never done a resin body kit. So I honestly have no idea what I'm doing, but I want to take you along with me for the ride. I think that'll be a fun experience to share with this being a full build. And with, you guys know the story. I'm working long hours. I'm driving to Plano. 14 hours of my day is dedicated to getting to work, getting back from work, or work. So I cannot guarantee that these are going to be weekly. They may be every week, they may be every other week. I don't know. I cannot commit to a time frame on these, but I am going to do these as full build videos. So, thanks for hanging out with me. I'm going to go ahead and start looking at prepping this body, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. Also, feel free to leave comments, feedback, critique, or anything else in the comment section below. I enjoy interacting with all my viewers in the comment section and try to reply to all the comments I receive. If you want to catch future videos, please consider subscribing to my channel and make sure you click the bell notification icon so you can be notified when I upload new videos. As always, thank you for watching, keep modeling, and have a great day.